welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and today we're going to be taking on a puzzle that was created, I think, over 2 years ago. It's called Sums and Products, and it's by PixelPlucker. And the reason we're doing this is that, well, it's got some very strong recommendations from, amongst others, Glum Hippo. And also, one of our testers suggested that in the UK, our Prime Minister has just said that he wants all school children to study maths up to the age of 18. And apparently this puzzle should basically be given to all 18-year-old students as a sort of a way of enjoying maths, and you'll understand why when I explain that the x's in this grid all have to be viewed as multiplication signs. So it is a weird and wonderful puzzle. I was just looking at the comments on this, which obviously are a couple of years old, but I don't know why we didn't do this puzzle before. It has got incredible comments from some of the great and the good of the Sudoku community. So what PixelPlucker has created here is going to be wonderful, and I'm looking forward to having a go at it. What do I have to tell you about before I do that? I've been away. I've been out of it for the last couple of days. I've been down at the President's Putter, which is a golf competition for Oxford and Cambridge Golf Blues. It happens every January down on the south coast of England, on the course. Well, it's a course called Rye. It's a beautiful place, and a photographer called David Cannon tweeted some pictures that he's taken over the last day or two, and these are just beautiful. I just wanted to share them with you. If you look very carefully in that one, you might even see me. I won't tell you which one I am. But actually, that's the guy who beat me in the competition, Nick Winder, who's a lovely guy and a very good golfer. So, Nick, I hope you do very well over the next couple of days. Look at this. It's so pretty, isn't it? And I think that's Bruce Fitzpatrick, a very fine golfer indeed. But anyway, I just wanted to share those pictures with you and show you what I've been doing. What else do I need to tell you about, though, before... well, thank you to anybody who joined us on the Teiji stream the other night. That was great. What a great game. We're definitely going to carry on doing battle with that. It's sort of a Witness-style game with loads of puzzles in it. Mark and I were having a ball. So, yeah, we'll announce a new stream shortly. I want to give a shout-out to Rose. Rose wrote us the most lovely email. Rose, and I was so sorry to hear about your granddad. I totally agree with you. I think he would have found a great deal of pleasure in the puzzles on this channel. But we really appreciate you taking the time to write to us. And then I've got a few birthdays to do today. I'm going to start with the beautiful Ainsley, who has turned 12 today. And I know that you've turned 12, Ainsley, because your dad Dana wrote to us and included this Halloween picture. This Halloween costume is possibly the greatest Halloween costume in the history of such things. And Ainsley, I hope that you have a brilliant day today with, of course, lots of cake. Other than that, we've got Beth. Beth, I know that it's your birthday today because your sons Teddy and Marlin wrote to us. So I hope that you have a brilliant day. Krishnan, I know it's your birthday today, and I know that because your wife Madhu wrote to us. And Levi over in Brazil. I think your birthday was yesterday, and I got the message too late. So Levi, I hope you had a great day yesterday. And then finally, Kirsten. Now, Kirsten has been on the channel before because I actually proposed on behalf of Kirsten to her now husband, Bernhard. Now, Kirsten, today you have turned 30 plus X, where X equals 10. I know that's... I know the chagrin that comes with turning the age that shall not be named. But Kirsten, I hope obviously you have a brilliant day. And I know that two of you are shortly about to become parents again. So I hope everything goes well with that. So that's my birthday duties. Loads of chocolate cake going on in the world. And next I'm going to talk about Patreon, where we've got these incredible puzzle hunts. I'm going to read you out a quote in a minute, which sort of talks about one of those hunts. We have the J. Dyer hunt, which goes on till the 20th. The plaudits that's been getting have been extraordinary. And of course we have the Phistomefel hunt, which is the Sudoku event of the century. That only goes on till the 10th of January. So if you're trying to solve those puzzles, I don't blame you. Some of them are brutal. Then persevere. You've only got 3 days left. But very well done to the following: Filippo Chona, Ignacio Cascudo, Jan Philip Bultmann, Awesome Sauce, George White, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Carla Barquest, Danielle and Colin, Nadine and Tobias, Kim Geiger, Scott Bathurst, Tobias Binder, Pablo Boishida, Marshall Anderson, and finally Stephen Lip. Now Stephen is very, I note this when I'm reading out the names, but the effort that has gone in to getting your name read out for solving one of these hunts it shouldn't be sort of, I wish I could give more plaudits, but anyway, I wanted to read out to you Stephen's email. He says, "In my life, I have met a small number of people who have given me the privilege of witnessing their absolute mastery of their subject matter. In most every case, the feeling of true exuberance of the realization of their skill made me a better person, if only for the contact with pure genius. Phistomefel has created a challenge which has wrought every bit of skill I have and then some. I can only laud and exalt the ingenuity and panache that has gone into the creation of this hunt." Well, Stephen, that nails it. And very well done on getting your name read out. And Phistomefel and J. Dyer, thank you so much for putting these hunts together. Anyway, with all that said and done, let's get on with our arithmetic exercise, Sums and Products by PixelPlucker. These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Digits in cages may not repeat and must sum to the total indicated. Brackets. Or if a range is indicated, a total within that range. Hang on. I had not appreciated we were going to have range. Oh, right, okay, so we've got a greater than 20 clue down there. We've got a question mark clue. I can't see any. I think that must mean greater than 20 must be the range clue. Some cages may have unknown totals, which I guess is one cage has an unknown total. And an X between cells indicates that two adjacent digits are multiplied when calculating the cage total. For example, the total of the 49 cage, which is this one, would be calculated like this. 49 equals row 7 column 1 plus times, not plus, times row 8 column 1. So those two get multiplied together. Let's actually highlight those. Plus row 8 column 2 plus row 9 column 2, that's those two. So those two get multiplied together. So whatever these multiply to, you add it to whatever those two multiply together to give, and you add on those two as well, that one and that one, in a quite appalling selection of colours, sort of thing I would wear to a party, and that should give you 49. And hopefully it will by the time we finish the puzzle. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, of course, using multiplication throws out everything I thought I knew about killer cages. The biggest cage in the puzzle seems to be, well, if we ignore the greater than 20 clue, is going to be this one. 58. So if we wrote 8 and 9 into those, that would be 17. That would be the largest I could make that domino add up to. So we know that these two have to multiply together to give at least 41. Right. Okay. So these two, I think, have to be fairly high digits, don't they? But what we could do is something like 5 times 9. That would give us 45 there. and then we'd only need another 13 from there, which we could do in a variety of ways. Well, actually, if we used 5 times 9, we could only do it with a 6 and a 7. But this doesn't need to be 5 times 9. What it couldn't be is 4 times 9, because 4 times 9 is only 36, and then these two would have to sum to 22, and that's impossible. So I think those digits, it might be worth recording. They've got to be, each digit has got to be at least 5. The 11 clue, is that somehow restricted? Do you have to have a 1 in that cage? If there was no 1 in the cage... No, you don't have to, do you? 2 times 3 plus 5, that would work. You don't have to have a 1 in that cage. Oh dear, hang on, where are we meant to look? Right, that cage is also a very large number. 56, but we've got 3 digits, so those 3 digits could add up to 24 if we made them 7, 8 and 9, and then these two cells would only have to multiply together to give 32, which, okay, I mean 8 times 4, which wouldn't allow you to put 8 in there, but it doesn't feel to me like these are particularly under pressure. What about 49 with 2 multiplying things in it? No, but again, the problem here is, well, I don't know how to do this. The problem here is that there are so many so many different numbers that two Sudoku numbers can multiply to. So we could make this domino a very low total, and then this a very high. That would be easy. Or we could make these multiply together to give medium totals. 43. 43 is prime. Is there something? So, but right, that could be a 6, 7, and that could be a 1. 6 times 7 is 42. Add 1 to it. Or that could be 4 times 9, and that could be a 7. There are loads of options here. This is weird, actually. I'm almost wondering whether I'm doing this wrong. Am I meant to be thinking about killer Sudoku, like that digit can't repeat in its cage? No, that's a bad example. What about that domino? That domino can't repeat in its cage. So that domino there goes in, well, 2 of those 4 cells are mimicked in this bright green domino. But even if I know that, I don't know whether they're on the X or not. They don't have to be on the X at all. No, hang on. That digit has to be in the 19 cage. For what that's worth, that's not going to do it, is it? Right, so... I wonder if it's these two 20 cages then. Perhaps there's something about... Do we have to have a 1 on one of those X's? Oh, no, hang on. No, that's a silly thought. Well, it's not a silly thought. I was thinking, do I have to have a 1 on an X? Because I was thinking if this was, say, 2, 3, 4, 5... then one of these X's is going to be getting very large. But I'm now seeing I could, providing I have 2 as a multiplier on one of them, and 3, say, on the other, that's not going to be too difficult. But of course I can't have 1 on either of these, because if I have 1 on either of these, the maximum I could make that domino would be 1 plus 9, or 1 times 9, which is 9, and that would put 11 into the other cell, which is definitely not possible. Ah, okay, right. So there is something here, I think. I think we might be able to conclude. Maybe one of them has to be a 2 and one of them has to be a 3. Just think about that. So if we had... Well, we definitely need a 2 on one of them. That must be true, because we can see that 3 times 5 doesn't work. 3 times 6 with a 2. But then what would you put in here if you weren't using 4? Or if you weren't using 2, you'd have to be 4 times 5, and that would be a 0. So I think there's definitely a 2 on one of these dominoes. Okay. Oh, that is right. That is peculiar. Right. We're a bit short of even digits here, actually. We are a bit short of even digits because I can't put 1 times anything on the x, but I don't think I can times 3. I can't times 3 by an odd number. Doesn't work. If you do 3 times 5, that's got to be a 5 again. 3 times 7 is 21, and you can't put -1 into there. And 5, obviously, you can't times 5 by 7, or so that's going to make that cell very difficult. So there must be at least one even digit in both of those dominoes. But you can't have... right. Okay. Right. So it is all about even digits. Where are the even digits in box 1? I've just worked out I can't put 2 odd digits on an x. So there must be at least one even digit on each x. Now, if I put 2 even digits on an x, let's say that's 2 times 6, then that digit would definitely be even. But that cannot work, because the problem is whether you multiply an even digit by an odd digit or an even digit, the result of that multiplication will be an even digit. So yes, okay, that's a more sensible way of presenting this. So because I know that there is at least one even digit in that domino, and at least one even digit in that domino, I can say for certain that both of those cells are even. I'm using blue for even. That is the patented colour on Cracking the Cryptic for even digits, because odd digits, well, we tend to use orange as the most colourblind friendly juxtaposition with blue, and orange begins with O and odd begins with O. So blue digits tend to be even by default. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it's fairly clear. And in terms of if you multiply an even digit by any sort of number, you get an even digit as a result, because you get an even number of odd digits if you multiply it by an odd digit, and an even number of odd digits will always add to an even digit. So you can try it if you don't believe me. And therefore, because these are even and these x's have to have at least one even digit in them, well, that's all 4 even digits for the box then. 2, 4, 6 and 8, which means those 3 digits must be odd, and these dominoes have to be one of each. Which means this is an odd digit, and that is in a 15. Right, so what can that be? It's one... I'm actually going to put the numbers in. It can't possibly be 9. Oh, yes it can. No, it can be 9. 9 times 1 would make that a 6. Oh dear. Okay, it can be 9. It can be 7 as well, actually. Oh well, alright, so we don't know what that is. That's annoying. Right, but I know one of these is a 2, don't I, as well? Because if we're not multiplying by 2 as the even digit... Oh yeah, okay, so there must be a 1 in one of those 3 cells, because I can't multiply by 1 in these dominoes. So there's a 1 in one of these 3. I'm going to say there must be a 3 multiplying up here as well. I think we might have to think about this a bit more in a bit more of a structured way. So what are the ways that these dominoes can work? Maybe the way to do it is to think about the digit that is that's going to be the adder. So the adder, which is this one. So if that is an 8, what does that mean for this? If that's an 8, these two have to multiply together to give 12. Now I think that means they could be 2. No, they can't be 2. They can't be 2 6 because that's double even digits, and that we know that doesn't work. So they'd have to be 3 and 4 if that's 8. There's no other way of doing that, is there? No, I don't think so. So right, let's try 6 here. So if that's 6, these two have to multiply together to give 14. So that's going to be 2 and 7. So that combination actually works. Okay, let's try other combinations. Let's try 4 here. So that means these two have to multiply together to give 16, which would make them... No, that doesn't work, because the only way of getting 16 without using 4 is 2 times 8, and those are both even again. So 4 just doesn't work. 2 gives 18 here, which is going to work, I think. 18 can't be 2 9 because we'd have used the 2 twice, but it could be 3 6, I think. Although not with 8. Ah, good grief, right. That's beautiful. That is so weird. So weird. Okay. So, I don't think you can use 2 on reflection then. If you use 2, you can't. You need this to be 18. It can't be 2 9 because you'd repeat the 2. And if it were 3 6, how would you make the other triomino work? Because if you use 8 in the triomino as the adder, you need a 3 as the multiplier, and the 3 here would rule that out. And if you use 6 here, we know that requires these to be 2 and 7, which is going to clash with that too. Well, you can't use 6 anyway because there's already a 6 here. So there's just no option. If you use 2 3 6, it just doesn't work. You just cannot find another triomino that's going to work. So, all right, this is huge because now we've worked out those two cells are a 6 8 pair, and the multipliers are. I've just deleted what they are. 8 was 3 4, wasn't it? So this could be 3 4. And 6 is 2 7. Okay. Well, that's quite good. Right, so that... Right, okay, so what we're now learning is that these 3 digits are 1, 5 and 9, being the digits we've not yet located in box 1. And this is a 6 8 pair. Now, oh, don't tell me, is this all for nothing? I have a horrible feeling this is... I don't think this is doing anything, is it? Unless that domino is somehow restricted, I don't see how this is... It's not putting any pressure on anything. Okay. I don't think this is restricted. I looked at this before. Oh, okay. No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. That can't be 9 anymore. That really can't be 9 this time. Because if it's 9, the only thing we can multiply here is 1. And that's going to make that 6 in order to make this add up to 15. And the 6 8 rules that out. Okay. So that's not 9. Is it 5 then? If it's 5, you can't put 1 with 5 because then this would be a 10. Oh, you can't put 2 with 5 because then that would be a 5. And you can't put 3 with 5 because that would be a 0. Good grief, that's a 1. That's a digit. We've got a digit. It's only taken me 24 minutes. Now that looks like it might be a weak spot, but let's just think about this. This has to be a big enough number that this has a fill. So this can't be 1 times 5 even, because that would make this a 10. So this is 6, 7, 8 or 9. And this is 9. And this is the set. Ah, no. Okay. So what's happening here is this is also a high digit. And it can't be 6 or 8. So that's become 7 or 9, which means that is, I think, 6 or 8. So 1 times 6 puts 9 here. 1 times 8 puts 7 here. And obviously, if we went for 1 times 7, you're going to need an 8 here. You can't do that. So that's now odd. This is now even. And this is probably where we look next. Because what are we doing? Is there balm in Gilead? Tell me truly, I implore. It is. Does there have to be a 2? If there did have to be a 2, that would do something to this. Okay, if there is not a 2 in here, how would it work? It could be 3, 4, except it could. No, it can't be 3, 4. I don't know why. I had the fact that these were. I think I was using 3, 4 on the 15 in my brain. No, 3 times 4 is 12. That cannot be a -1. Right, it's simple. So there must be a 2 on here, because if there wasn't, this is going to multiply together to give too much. That's huge, because that now is not 2, 7, which means it is 3, 4, which means that's 8. That's 6. These two squares are therefore the 2, 7 pair. This is now not got 7 as a multiplier anymore. And this, right. Oh, this is lovely. Good grief. Okay, look, that cannot be 2 times 3 or 2 times 4 now. So it is 2 times 5, because that's the only way of keeping that domino to multiply to less than 11. And that's a 1. And if that's a 1... Oh, there's no 5 in this multiplier now. So this looks like the weak point now. This is very cool. This is very cool, because after we found this way in, I like the fact it sort of feels like now I might be able to spot the next bit of progress. So, well, that cannot be 8 times 9, because that's 72, and that's bigger than 58. There's a knowledge bomb for you. So there's definitely a 6 in here, which doesn't, well... No, it doesn't. It gives me a pencil mark of a 6 in 3 cells in box 2. If it was 6 times 9, that would have to be a 1, 3 pair. And Bobbins says that's actually possible. Alright, so it's either 6, 9. If it's 6, 8, we get 48 here. And then these have to add up to 10 without using 4, 6 or 2, 8 or 3, 7. So they would be a 1, 9 pair. Right. Okay. That's not so good. So there is definitely a 1 in this domino. And it's a 1 that's accompanying a 3 or a 9, but we don't know which. And we already knew, if we'd actually done our Sudoku, that there was a 1 in this domino anyway. Okay, so me then being relieved that about the fact that... no, right. I was about to say something that said I really liked, or me being delighted I could spot the next step has quickly come to a halt, but I can actually spot something here. So let me ask a different question. Can you make this now work without a 9? Now I think we've always got a 9 in here, because if that's 6, 8, this is 1, 9, and if that's 6, 9, it's already got a 9 in it, so that cell's a 5, so that cell's a 9. Doesn't tell me what this is. This 9 does tell me what that is, though. So that must be an 8 now by mathematics. We now know what those 3 squares are in the top row. They are 6, 7 and 9 in some order. And that's not 6, because we know there's a 6 here. So that's 7 or 9. Well, oh no, hang on. The 7 does this, doesn't it? That's... Oh, hang on. Hang on. I'm sorry. I just don't trust that. Everything I've just done, I now don't trust. No, it's because it... No, it's fine. It's just I didn't spot that there was some Sudoku to do. 7 7s. I can put 7 here by Sudoku. That is a 6-9 pair. That means 9 is not in here. So this is a 1-3 pair, which meant that had to be the higher multiple. We need 54, so we need no 8 in there. So we've now got all sorts of things going on. In this row we need a 4, I can see that, and we need an 8. Oh, we need 8. So 8 goes in this cage, and that must be a 4. And these two squares must be 2 and 5. And those two squares must be 3 and 4. And I now see, okay, I don't know if I could have spotted this before, but there is roping, look. You've got 3, 4, 1 there, 3, 4, 1 there, 3, 4, 1 there. So we've sort of got this triplicating effect, which had I spotted it might have helped me. Right, so it's either going to be the 56 cage, which I'm guessing it's not going to be that yet, because there's so many things this could multiply together to give. And so much flexibility with 2 more adding things. Or it's this. Right, well it is this. Because this adds up to 7 without being 1 6. And if it was 2 5, it would clash here. So that's a 3 4 pair. It's lovely, isn't it? It's lovely the way this is flowing. It's absolutely filthy weather outside. I don't know if you can hear the rain battering against my window. I can hear it. It's off-putting. Oh dear. Right, so now what am I meant to be noticing? So now I'm feeling stuck again. I've got... How do we do... Oh, what on earth am I meant to be seeing here? Sorry, I've really... it's getting worse and worse. I'm sort of a bit tempted to look at that, but not really. You can't use... Actually, maybe I should look at this. 2 can't be used as a multiplier down here. Because even if it was 2 times 9, that cell would have to be ludicrously high. It would have to be 25. That's not going to work. So there's no 2 down here. There's no 3 and there's no 4. So the minimum multiplier, if you like, we've got down here is a 5 times something. If there was no 5 in this domino, it would have to be a 6 7 pair. That would have to be a 1. So there is one option, which is that, which doesn't use a 5. If we do use a 5, what happens? If we do use a 5, we've got to multiply by not 6, because that would then be a 13. 5 times 7 would make this an 8, which might be possible. 5 times 8 is not possible, actually. And 5 times 9 is too many. Right, so I want to say there is a 7 in this domino, which is quite surprising. Because it's either 6 times 7 with a 1 here, or it's 5 times 7 with an 8 here. Okay, so does that help me? Well, it puts 7 in the 25 cage, which is... Well, is that important? I think 7 can work here, can't it? Because these would have to multiply together to give 18, which couldn't use 3 6, so that would be a 2 9 pair, which might work. If 7 is in the multiplier, we've got to be using... Oh, that's it. Right, that's it. You can't use 7 as a multiplier because 3 and 4 are not available. So if 7 times 2 is 14, that would make this an 11. So 7 times 5 is 35. It breaks up. So we've got to put 7 here. This has to multiply to 18 without using 3, so that's 2, 9. That's now 6. That's now 9. That's now 5. That's now 2. Good grief. This 1, 8 is still unresolved, I think. But perhaps we can... Well, what can we do here? Can we do anything useful? We can. I think I'm actually going to break a habit of a lifetime and pencil mark these options just so that I can look at the Sudoku. Oh, look, yeah, okay, that's a 5, 6, 7 triple. Oh, yeah, I can see that. If I'd focused on 9s instead, that would have become a 9. Now, that must be important. Oh, maybe not, though. Because this can either be high numbers or low numbers. If I could get rid of 1 in this position, that would feel quite important. Oh yeah, and I knew that domino. That domino, remember, had to live down here somewhere, didn't it? By Sudoku, because it can't, whatever these digits are, can't repeat in their cage. And can't repeat in their column, so they live down there somewhere. So 5, well, I'm not sure. Let's try this column. 1, 3, 4, 8. 1, 3, 4, 8. So the multiplier here, well, this is not, it's not 8, is it? We can't start with 72. If that's a 1, then we've got 9 here, which means we need 29 there, which is tricky actually. How do you do that with this? How do you do that with these options? You can't multiply by 1 by anything without making this have to be at least 20, or at least 21 actually. And 5 times 6, which is the next lowest multiplier you can do, is already 30, so I don't think that is a 1, which is actually surprising. Okay, if that's, well, that gives me a 3, 4 pair. That's good. So now I get a 1, 8 pair here. And now probably we have to focus harder on this. If this is a 4, it doesn't work because that's 36 and these cells can't only add up to 2. So that must be a 3 is what I think we're learning, which gives us 27, which means we need 11 here. So 8 is now no longer possible here. Because if we times 8 by 1, this still has to be a 3, which won't work. So this is, well, it must use a 1, mustn't it? That's very clear, because 5 times 6 is going to blow the budget. We need 11. Right, so this is 5 or 6, because whatever this is, if this is 1 times 6, we need a 5. If this is 1 times 5, we need a 6. So that's a 1, 5, 6 triple. This becomes an 8. Oh, we've got a 1, 5, 6 triple here as well. 8, ooh, ah, oh, this is, I mean, this is lovely. It's absolutely lovely. Look at this box now. 8 and 4 live in the 19 cage by Sudoku. That 4 can't repeat in its cage, so it has to be in here. This 8 and this 8 combine to push the 8 in here. So these two squares, well, we've got 2 squares in the 19 cage that add up to 12. We need 2 more that add up to 7 that are not 3, 4. So we either need 2, 5 or 1, 6 in there. I don't know if we can do that somehow. But let's come back over here where we've not put 2 and 4 into this column. Oh, well, that didn't work. Okay, let's try. Let's try this sum now, the 56, where we've got 12 of it. Can I? No, I see, 7. That's the simpler way to think about it. Where does 7 go in this box now? Now this 7 means that there is a choice. It either goes in the 19 cage with a 4 and an 8, well that would mean the fourth digit was a 0, or it goes on the X, and it goes therefore on the X. So we've got 12 here, we need 44 from these 3 digits. So the multiplier here could be 5, couldn't it? And that could be 9. So that's one option, I think. That's 5, 7. This is 9. If this is 6, 7, that would be a 2. And that does not work. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. The selection. It's so delicate. It's so delicate. But PixelPlucker's selection here of this 19 cage is such a beautiful setting. Because not only does it work nicely in terms of we can force some digits into it, but look at the implication now. We noted that the 2 digits we need to complete the 19 cage are either 2, 5 or they're 1, 6. Well, if this option here was 6, 7 with a 2, then obviously we're taking out the options for this to ever be 1, 6 or 2, 5 because those options don't exist anymore. So we can't be using 7 times 6 here. And if we obviously anything higher than that is going to break the budget. So we are using 7 times 5 with a 9. Let's double check the maths then. We've got 21, which means that we need this to add up to 35, and that's multiply together to give 35, which is what it's doing. So now we get a 9 here and a 2 here. Now we know what the composition of this cage is, because we can't use 3, 4 and we can't use 2, 5, so we must be using 1, 6, which means these 2 squares have got to be the 2, 3 pair that we haven't yet put in this box. And these digits at the bottom of column 3 are 1, 5 and 6. And that's not a 1, that's not a 1, because that would require these to add up to 16, which would need a 9. So that gives me a 5, 6 pair in this row. Do I know anything about that domino then? Does that need an 8? I think it might do. Yes, it does need an 8, I think. Because if it didn't, if there was no 8 in there, how would we make these add up to enough? These either have to add up to 11 or 12 without the availability to use 5s, 6s or 9s. Oh, actually, no, I'm wrong. Hang on, I'm wrong. 4, 7 would work, wouldn't it? 4, 7, and make that a 6. Oh, rats. Okay, sorry. What about then we could use... We've got the question mark cage still hanging over us, haven't we? Like the sword of Damocles, and we've got I don't know actually. No, I don't know. What is it that I'm meant to be? Where's the natural place to look? Every time I've got stuck, there's been a really natural place to look. This row, 1, 3, 4 and 6. Right, and that's not 1 or 6. Oh, I see. See, I didn't see that, but now I have seen it. Look, by SUDOKU, look, there's a 3, 4 pair in row 3. So this is a 1, 6 pair. And we're adding up to 37. So that's quite interesting then. Doesn't the 6 have to multiply by a 5, or is that wrong? If this, given that the 1 is multiplying by a digit that's going to, well, it can be any number, but we need what's left to be a multiple of 6. And it can't be 6 times 6 because that's going to use 2 6s in the box. So it could be 30. We could get this down to 30 using 1 and 7. And that would work with 6, 5. But we can't get it down to 24 because we'd need to put a 13 as one of these two digits. And that's not going to work. So I think that's got to be a 5-7 pair. We pair up the 1 with the 7. And we pair up the 6 with the 5. And there's no other way that can work. Right, and that does... Oh, the 5... Ah, I see. And this 5, it does do work. Because that 5 is now here. This is therefore 7. We know the 5 has to multiply by the 6, which gives us some more digits. Which, no, it doesn't give us that digit. Right, that's now not a 5, look. There. Oh, come on, Simon. What's that doing? That is telling us that. I don't know. I'm fairly sure that's doing something absolutely profound. But I'm not immediately seeing what... I suppose, okay, it's putting 6 down there, which could be interesting. It's putting 1 in one of those cells, which also could be interesting. Not definitely interesting, it's potentially interesting. I'm running out of cages as well. I have a feeling I can do better with this 17 cage if I think about that. If that's a 5, these two squares have to add up to 12 without using 5, 7 or 3, 9. So they would be a 4, 8 pair. Okay, so that is one possibility. If this is a 6, these have to add up to 11 without using 5, 6, without using 3, 8, and without using 2, 9. So they would be 4, 7. Okay, so there is always a 4 in this domino. That's just so rubbish. It's so rubbish as a deduction. So these... Oh, that's a naked single. Oh, goodness me. Right. Okay, well, that's huge. I think that's a naked single. I'm going to double check it. But if we look along this row now, the digits that we have not even pencil marked are 1, 2... Well, there's 1, 2... I want to say 7 and 8. So these digits have to be from 1, 2, 7 and 8. That's not 6 actually because of this 5, 6 pair, so we can get rid of that. That's not 1. Well, let's look at this digit, which sees a 1, 7, 8 triple. So that is a 2, which means that these two squares are not 2. This square is not 1. So that gives us the 4, 7, 8 triple. So the question I should have been asking is where does 1 go in this row? I just didn't see that. Well, it goes there. Apparently it's the only place it can live. We've now got, I presume, for the 49 cages where we're going to have to spend our time now. I'm just trying to see if there's something simple Sudoku-wise that I can do here. I'm not seeing much. No, okay. Why don't we pencil mark column 1? We need 3, 4, 6 and 9, don't we, into these squares. And therefore we can have a good think. That's not 6. We know there's a 6 down here. We know this is a 1. It really depends. I'd like to get this a little bit more tidied up. It still feels to me, I might well be wrong about this, but it still feels to me like there's an awful lot of optionality in this 49 cage. Okay, well perhaps the fact there's a 6 down here is helpful though. Alright, so if that's a 9, what does that mean? We've then got 18, 19 here, which means 30 for the rest of it, but that's a 6. So I need these to be 24, and they could be a 3/8 pair. Right, so that works. That was putting 9 into this position. What about if we made this a 6 then? No, actually I'm going to go the other way, because at least then I get the 6 in the corner. If this is a 3, then I've got 6, 7, and another 6. I've got 13 here, which means these have to multiply to give 36, and that doesn't work, because I can't do 6 times 6, and I can't do 4 times 9. So that is not a 3. That is a tiny deduction, but it's a win. Right, what if this was a 4? Then we've got 8, 9. What was that? 6. So we've got 15. 34, that doesn't work. We can't use 17 in Sudoku, so we can't do 2 times 17, so that's not 4 either. So this is down to 6 or 9. If we can get rid of 6, we know it's a 9, and we know all sorts of things. If this is a 6, I've then got 13 there. I've got 13 there. So this digit is 3, 4, or 9. And I need 36. So if it's 9, these have to multiply to give 27, which is impossible because the 9's here, and we can't do 3 times 9. So that doesn't work. If we do 3 here, these have to be 33. 3 times 11 won't work. If we do 4 here, though, no, we need 32 here, which could have been 4 times 8, except there's a 4 here. And it can't be anything else, I don't think. Nothing else useful anyway. So right, this is massive. So that is 9. That is 6 in the corner. These squares are now 19. I'm just going to double check my maths. 19, 25. These have to be 24. 3 times 8 is the only way it works because we've used the 4 times the 6. So this is 3/8. That's 4 at the top, 3 here. We haven't put 2 and 7 in. Oh, the 7 here is very nice now. So that's 7, that's 2. That square is now a 4. So those are not 4. So that I can see is a 1, 5, 6, 8 quadruple. So we need to put 2, 3, and 9 into these squares. So that square is a 2 only. So that's 2, that's 2, that's 3, that's 9. And hopefully, well, I can see that's a 3 or a 4, which is useful actually, because that forms a pair over there. Oh no, I've broken it. Oh, bobbins, what did I do wrong there? What did I do wrong there? But it's broken. And the reason it's broken, look, is I've got a 3-4 pair here and a 3-4 pair there. And that is a deadly pattern. I don't think there's any way we can resolve. Oh, hang on, that's not 3, 4. There's a 4 here. That's a relief. Okay, I think I've just mis-pencil marked that. Yeah, okay. So I said this was a 3, 4 pair because... Why did I think that? I don't know. I don't know why I thought that. But there's a 4 there, in fact. So that's a 3, and that's an 8. And now... I've got a 1, 4, 6 triple here. So that should become 3. That should be a 4. And hopefully we can be back on the right track again. Let's think about this. Well, that's now a 7, which means these squares are now known to be a 4, 8 pair. 4 and 8, whoopsie, 4 and 8 add up to 12, so that means that's a 5. We've got a 1, 6 pair here. What is this cage doing? It must be, I don't know, I've not used this cage at all. I'm confused. That's a 4, 5. I know, look. What's this doing? Ordinarily, a cage like this would be used to force those 2 digits to be different, for example, because they couldn't repeat in the cage. But here, unless I've made an error, there was no chance that was ever going to be the case. I'm confused about this question mark cage. But I'm also slightly concerned that I don't see how I'm resolving any of this. What have I missed here? I must have missed something in a column that's going to help me to resolve columns 5 and 6. I don't know what it is. Sorry, let me just... Oh, there's a 6 here, right? So that's a 6, that's a 1, that's a 1, that's an 8. That's huge. Okay, that is huge, because now we can work out by maths what that has to be 5 times 7, doesn't it? So that becomes a 6, that becomes a 1, that becomes a 5. So this becomes a 4-6 pair. This loses its 6 and becomes a 1-8 pair. That becomes a 6. This is still looking fishy. So all I've got now is some slightly less pencil marked doubles in columns 5 and 6. It must be this 20 cage then. But that doesn't look very resolved to me. 9 is in one of those squares. Maybe we can rule 9 out of the... No, I want to get 9 probably in the cage, don't I? No, this is there's something wrong here. I don't think this resolves. 2, 3, 7 and 9. Let's pencil mark this in. 2, 3, 7 and 9. There's no 9. Right, so at least we can do some maths on this. Oh, right. Okay, no, that's very clever actually. If that's a 2-3 pair, this cage doesn't add up to more than 20. Because if 2 times 3 would give us 6, plus 4 is 10, that could be a 9, that's 19, that's not 20. And that tells us, if that's right, that there is a 7 in this domino, which means there is no 7 down here. This is now a 5, that's a 7. That 5 means I've got a 5 here and a 4 here, which means I get a 4 here and a 2 here, an 8 here and a 3 here. Okay, so now I get a 2, 9 here and a 3, 7 there, but this is still... Oh, that's beautiful. What a beautiful thing. Right, so at the moment this still looks very troubling, doesn't it? But this 2 is in this cage, so that must be a 9. And therefore that's a 2. And hopefully we're now going to get a series of unwindings. 8, 1, 1, 3, yeah, 3, 7, 7, 5, 5, 2. Good grief. Good grief. What a beautiful puzzle that is. Wow. Well, I mean, they should just set this as an A-level maths paper. It took me longer than my A-level maths paper. It definitely did. That is absolutely beautiful. I loved that. I love the fact it looked impossible. Well, at many moments it looked impossible, but particularly at the beginning, because I couldn't see how you were going to narrow down any of these X's. They seemed to be completely and utterly impervious to pencil marking. And then finally, what was it? Yes, it was having a misthought. I had the thought that I could put 1 on an X in box 1. Realised quickly that was silly, but that got me thinking a bit about what sort of digits could work on these X's, given I couldn't put 1 on them. And then I had the idea about, well, odd digits just don't work. And once odd digits, once you can't multiply 2 odd digits together, suddenly the world opens up. So a bit of parity on this box was the absolute key. But after that, it was lovely. It was very surprising that these tiny little pencil marks or options could yield a smooth solve through the puzzle. It's a brilliant puzzle. Absolutely brilliant. Sums and Products by PixelPlucker should have been on the channel much more recently. Well, much longer ago than it was. But I'm very glad we've corrected that now, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.